Hey guys, welcome back. This is Sinn. In this video, I wanted to talk about setting up a virtual malware lab for malware dissection and malware analysis, stuff like that. So let's get straight into it. The first thing you're going to want to do is head over to VirtualBox.org and grab yourself a download. The newest one is 5.2. So I have the download here. Let's just run this. Right now I'm inside of VirtualBox because I already have VirtualBox installed. So we'll install this. While this is installing, I'm going to talk about the things we're going to be discussing. We're going to be discussing some unique some tools that you might want inside your malware lab, and of course setting up a host-only adapter so as to keep your malware from propagating outside your system and onto the web or your LAN. Okay, so this is going to be finished installing in just a second. Okay, and it's all done installing. We're just going to click finish and it will start it up for us. There it is. Okay, so a basic rundown of VirtualBox. If you don't know, to create a new system, you create new, and then we can set our system type. Let's say we're going to be installing Windows 10. Let's call this Malware Lab. We can set our RAM size, create a virtual disk, or anything. I'm just going to not, because we aren't going to be using this exactly. I just need to show you how to install it. So now we are going to switch over to my personal malware lab, and we're going to show how I have it set up. Okay, we're back here in my main machine. It's just Windows 10, and this is my personal VirtualBox installation, and this is my malware lab here. So we're just going to go into settings and discuss how I have it set up. So in general, I just have everything disabled. As for the shed clipboard and drag and drop. On the system, I just give it 4 gigs of RAM, 1 processor. I thought I gave that 2. Okay, I'll just leave it as 1 though, since apparently that's how I had it set up. On the display, I just gave it max, virtual memory, video memory. I have my VirtualBox Guest Editions installation installed, and what that does is allows you to go full screen, stuff like that. There's a lot of other tutorials on VirtualBox. I just want to give a rundown on what settings I have. Right now it's on bridge adapter. The reason being is I'm going to show you how to set it up on host-only adapter. So let's get into the network side of things. Okay, to set up our host-only network adapter, and actually let me give a rundown on what this does real quick. So a host-only network adapter basically allows the virtual machines to communicate to each other and the host and not go outside the network itself. So it's one of the best options for a malware lab, because we can have another machine like Remnix, for example, which is something I use to set up a DNS server and stuff like that for the malware to connect to, and we can send it back whatever we want. But we don't want it to actually connect to the internet. We just want it to think it's connected to the internet. So that's the main purpose of a host-only adapter in the malware lab environment that we're going to be setting up. So if we go over to our settings, and then we go over to our network, if I set it to host only right now, we will have our VirtualBox host only Ethernet adapter by default. And if we click OK, that's good to go. But we're going to want to do some additional configuration here. In our in our IPv4 settings, we're just going to want to go properties, and in there, so inside properties, we're going to want to change this bit. It should automatically give it a different number. So mine is currently 3.5. I'm just going to leave it 5.6. And then everything else fine. We don't want it to obtain automatically. We want to set our own. And your IP is probably going to be 192.168.1.1. Or let's see, what actually is it? Yep, .1.1. So we want it separate from our actual internet connection. So we can just change the 1 to like 56, for example. On mine, I have mine 35. That doesn't really matter as long as it's not 1, or whatever your regular gateway is. So there is our host side of the host-only network setup. So inside the virtual machine, we have some additional configuration to do. So now we're going to want to start up the machine. Okay, so here we are inside my actual malware lab. This is the one I use to actually dissect malware. So I'll go over some of the tools here in a bit, but for now we're going to focus on the network side of things. So we're going to want to open in Windows 10. This is going to be pretty much the same for Windows XP and Windows 7. maybe not perfectly applicable to Windows XP, but Windows 7 should work fine, and of course Windows 10. So down here, just right-click Open Network and Share in Center. And we're going to want to click on our Change Adapter Settings. So now we have our Ethernet Unidentified Network. We can just right-click on it. Properties. And in here we have our IPv4 settings again. And we're going to want to set this up manually. So use the following IP addresses. And so IP... I believe it's 3.5, yes. So 192.168.3.5 or whatever yours would be, and then you could just give it its own number. I'm just going to leave it how it is, 2.5. Subnet mask, you can leave that how it is. And default gateway, this is where it actually becomes very important. So in a different video, I might go over using and setting up Remnix. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can just go to their website. It will, of course, be in the description. Download it, and they have instructions on there on how to put it into VirtualBox itself. So down here. So let me actually start this up, and we can go over how we can get these things to communicate to each other. This guy's also on the host-only network adapter, as you can see. There. So we're just going to do ifconfig because this is a Linux distro, and we should see 168.3.5.3. So we want to use our Remnix machine as our default gateway. Alright, so what I've done there is I've set the default gateway to be our Remnix machine. And the reason I've done that is because we want it to think that we want it to use our Remnix machine as basically the router. We want it to act as a DNS server and all that. Oh, down here we need to set the DNS server to our Remnix machine. Click OK. Yes. Oh. It's just complaining how the alternate is the same. So there's two tools, Fake DNS and INetSim. Fake DNS to act as our DNS server, and INetSim to simulate all the other junk that's used in network. So we can just run INetSim here. There we go. And then I'm also going to open up there you go, simulation running. I'm going to open up a new console window and fake DNS. There we go. So now that we've pointed our Windows machine to talk to the Remnix machine as the router, it will get all of the requests it makes. So here, let's try going to Google. Alright, that should do it. So now if I refresh, there we go. INetSim, this is the default HTML page for INetSim HTTP fake server mode. This file is an HTML document, and if we look over at our Remnix machine, you can see we have a request for google.com. Okay, so let's go over some tools we have installed inside my virtual machine, or Malware Lab machine. And one of the ones I recommend you download. So this is really nice because you guys can put whatever tools you want, any tools you feel comfortable with on here. I'm going to show the ones that I use the most. Hash my files. Hash my files is really cool because we can do multiple files at once. Let's say we want to check all of these guys. There we go, MD5 shot, and we just have all of the hashes here. So that one's really awesome. Hash my files, I'd recommend getting that one. Link will be in the description. Same for all the ones I'm going to be talking about here. I'm just going to go down the list. HXD, that's a hex editor tool, or a hex viewer and editor. So we can see in here, we can see all the hex data. And this is an exe, so we should see something about DOS in here. This program must be run under Win32. Bad example, might be packed. So let's try POC1. Yep, this program cannot be run in DOS mode. So that's the header you see in all exe files. Next up, Notepad++. that one's good. I also use Sublime too, which is also installed here. Sublime Text 3, sorry, not 2. This is the one I use more for like JavaScript files and basically everything actually. So next up, Wireshark. Wireshark is a packet capture tool. Process Hacker. Process Hacker is a good one too. Process Explorer is also a very popular one. The reason I have Process Hacker on here is because a lot of malware detects when if it has preventive measures and it sees that you have Process Explorer open, then it actually won't run. So Process Explorer is a less commonly avoided test manager alternative that lets you see a lot more info. Next up, we have Procmon. Procmon's awesome because it can actually detect when files are created, destroyed. It just looks at the stuff it does. Like here, even just the small time I've had it open, it's already noticing all this stuff. Create file on my desktop, denied access, read control, blah blah. It just keeps going. So you could set filters in here and all that. I'm not going to be going over these tools. I'm just going to show you what I have installed. Showed you that. JDGUI, this one's awesome. I used to use this when I would program Java applets and stuff. If you needed to decompile someone else's code or something like that, you could plug their Java file in here and it would decompile it. So converter, this is a converter for different types. So let's say we wanted to do Sinn voltage. We can convert text to decimal. There we go. Or text to hex. And then we could put that in here and we could go hex to text. There we go. So JavaScript Obfuscator, this can actually help you out sometimes. It's not the best tool. I mean, there's really, it helps a little. And it can also beautify it, or prettify it, whatever you want to call it, your JavaScript code. So you get an input-output. WinPrefetch view. This guy's good. This will let you look at all the prefetch data. Prefetch is every time you run an application, prefetch data is created for it. So you can see here, modified time, stuff like this. So you could see like if there's prefetch data for like a virus or something in here. Microsoft Network Monitor, this is also a good alternative. It's basically Wireshark. PDF Stream, this will let you look at to see if there's stuff hidden inside PDF files, stuff like that. IDFree, it's a debugger. AliDebug, also debugger. Regshot's awesome. Regshot's a really good thing because it can, before you could take a shot of your registry before you run a malware, and then, or a malware sample, and then after you run the malware sample, you could take another shot and it can compare the two regshots, or it can compare the two registry files. And then lastly, I have a VirusTotal shortcut on my desktop here. So yeah, those are some of the tools I have installed. I have some more. These are all the tools here. All links will be in the description. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will be glad to answer them. So yeah, this has been Sinn.y. Thanks for watching. Bye.